Alrighty. Well, welcome all viewers. I'm here, Parker, coach of the Memphis Maychimps, here with Ali, coach of the Nashville Ninetales. We are here for postseason 10, episode 4 of the Meet the Coaches series. So Ali, hope you've been having a good summer so far. Um, what's been your favorite thing that you've done this summer?
Favorite thing I've done this summer? Well, I just graduated school, so there's that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. And other than that, I've been traveling, so that's fun.
Nice. Very exciting stuff. Um, Have you had any spare time to play any sort of Pokemon this summer?
You know, not really. I don't think I've touched Pokemon in like over a month, but you know how it is.
Yes, but we will be back shortly. Very exciting stuff. Lots of new changes coming to Pokemon, including the DLC, which I think everyone's been excited for.
Oh, for
Do you have a
sure.
Pokemon that you're most excited to see come into the new game?
You know, I am excited for a bunch of old favorites to come back. We have that Metagross that I love to use, and the Ninetales mascots are coming back. So hopefully we'll get to see those in some draft league games.
There we go. And speaking of, a question I wanted to ask, will we be seeing some of the signature Nashville Ninetales Pokemon making a return to the roster?
Oh, absolutely. Depends on when the Pokemon Company decides to bring him back, but I've been most excited for my Excadrill to come back. Get my little sand core going.
We've seen Excadrill do damage in the past. So we'll see. Um, but anyways, you've been in the league a pretty long time. Do you have a favorite memory that you've had in the draft league so far?
So, favorite memory would honestly have to be back in season six, uh, which was after 6 very long seasons of coming close to titles, but never managing that final hurdle. But after a long 5 game banger of a series with Alex, coach of the Jersey City Jirachis, we finally managed to win the finals and claim that title on the back of probably one of my favorite Pokemon I've had in the league, the Primarina.
Yes, the coveted title and the coveted Primarina, which will be making a return, but I imagine will be a hot topic.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, I'm still waiting to have that feeling that you had chasing the dream, but maybe next season we will see.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but so last season, what do you think were some of the big takeaways with the first season introducing the Terra types?
So, one of the big changes we did was letting uh like we have our officiating sheet that all the refs know about, and being able to see what terra types your opponent is bringing adds a new layer of like mind games to the series you play. Just having to adapt to like a even a familiar Pokemon that you see change into a completely different type. So just having to adapt on the fly during games is probably one of the biggest changes.
Yeah, I think that was huge. I can think about when I was playing against Chris with the ground type Gyarados. It definitely becomes a mind game when you start thinking like, should I attack or what's going to happen? And it's kind of like an ally switch. You never really know, but it's always a threat.
That's the
Um,
magic.
but speaking of Terra types, do you have a favorite gimmick in the games that we've had so far? as far as like Dynamax, Mega Evolutions, all that.
So I actually never played the Gen 6 and 7 games with Megas and Z moves, but I really did enjoy Dynamax. Not only seeing the like cool new Gigantamax forms that a lot of these Pokemon got. One of my favorites being the Alchemy, just running
Yeah.
the giant cake at someone, but seeing an absolutely silly mon get huge on the stage and just being able to run over with that.
Yes. Well, Alchemy, as we all know, was a Memphis Maychamp's favorite Gmax. Um, But I think I'm in a similar boat. The Terra type makes it interesting just because you can get new stabs and new strengths, new weaknesses. But I do miss that about the Dynamax, the Gigantamax is just any one of these Pokemon could take over. Um, and if you're ever in a pinch, I don't know. It opened a lot, but getting adjusted to Terra type has definitely been a learning curve. Do you have any thoughts on the new Terra type that's coming? I don't really understand it, so I'm excited to see what it is. But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I honestly don't know what it's gonna be. Just like some sort of Omni type thing, but I mean, it'll definitely add another layer to the already very intense battles we have.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't really know how they're going to do all the types in one or what the real idea is, but interested for some more story, definitely. Um, But I know you just said you didn't play much of the Mega Evolutions or the Z Move era, but which Pokemon game was your first Pokemon?
So, my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Sapphire, all the way
Nice.
back in Gen 3. I think I was like, what, 5 or 6 years old when that came out. Just
Yeah.
learning how to read and learn how to play video games.
Learning how to read. The Game Boy, I think I was running that on the Game Boy SP, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's the one.
Um, I remember playing Emerald, and it was with the Game Boy SP, so I could hide it under my pillow. So once my parents thought I was asleep, I could run it. Um, What
For
has been your
play, if you
favorite
don't know.
region like so far? Because I would have to say Hoenn is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't remember a lot of the games just because I had that long, like, 10-year break because I never got a 3DS. So I went straight from, like, the DS games to the Switch games. But Pokemon Emerald definitely has so much replayability. I could play the Hoenn region with my eyes closed at this point.
Did you ever play like I guess probably not the Omega Ruby or
No, I didn't get to play the remakes.
yeah, neither did I. And looking back, I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Um, but anyways, I was in a pretty similar boat where I went from DS straight to the Switch games, and the Switch games have not disappointed so far. Um, do you have a favorite of the Switch games that have come out?
So I really like Sword and Shield. Uh, just like again coming back to Pokemon after so long, it was a nice change of pace, seeing all these new things you could do. But I recently picked Scarlet and Violet back up, and just exploring the map and all the different things you can do in that game adds so much you can do, and I really enjoy Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I think Scarlet and Violet did a good job of making the open world more open without losing like the Pokemon feel. Whereas Legends Arceus, I did love Legends Arceus, but it didn't feel as much like a Pokemon game as it did more of like a Zelda. But I think Scarlet and Violet did a really good job of walking the line of doing both.
Oh, for sure.
Um, have you beaten it yet?
I did beat Scarlet and Violet. I haven't done much of the post game, and I haven't finished Legends Arceus. I might go back to that, but it's there.
Yeah, I think once because I guess we'll see what the rules are with the new season and the new DLC. But I think just being able to transfer all the Pokemon from Legends Arceus will be useful.
Oh, absolutely. Assuming,
Um,
assuming Pokemon are competitive monsters, so to say.
yeah, not so much the Arcanine. I have found little success. I've tried. It's such a cool one. It's got a pretty cool shiny, but it's just not very good.
Yeah.
Um, but like Quillfish, Overquill, I think those could be some big game changers.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but what has been your favorite off-season cup so far with our off-season cup coming here shortly?
So for the off-season cups, it's really just like two that come to mind. One was where we were just playing. I want to say it was BGC Series 11 for Gen 8, where we had those. We tried teams with all these different restricted Pokemon, and I know I had a lot of fun playing
Yeah,
like a Zygarde team. But I think the last one we did, where it was the Elite Four challenge, everybody got to like make up their rule set for the week. We had our own Elite Four, and just trying to run that gauntlet was an absolute blast.
definitely. I agree. Both of those are fun. Last year, I loved that Elite Four, and I'm excited for the upcoming off-season cup. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just opening up the draft league to anyone who wants to come challenge will definitely be a lot of fun, and it is coming up soon. I think we already have our announcement video posted for it, so hopefully we get a
Very.
bunch of engagement.
And speaking of, so if you were to be a gym leader, what would be your gym type? Like your type, what would be your favorite, your signature Pokemon, and why?
So, my mascot doesn't really do it justice, but I would definitely be a ghost type gym leader
There you go.
with with my ace being Frostlass, who's like my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love her vibe. She's great. I've used her in like every playthrough that I can.
Nice. Um, did you enjoy the Ghost Leader in Scarlet and Violet and the rap battle that ensues?
Oh, it was very silly. I had a great time.
It's all time. I mean,
Little
it's a fun
Groovard hanging out on the boom boxes. I loved it.
battle. And speaking of favorite Pokemon, do you have a favorite legend in all of the games?
Favorite legend. So I've never really like leaned into the legendary Pokemon just because I can never really use them, and I felt like a cheater if I used them in my playthroughs. But I really did like the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Less
Nice.
so the little Megamind sitting on it, but the Ghost Horse is really cool. And I was a little biased to it because I used it playing in the Players Cup and climbed real high with that team.
Definitely. And we saw the damage that it can do with when Ham was using it.
Yeah, it is. It is a menace.
It's a problem. Um, and I wish, like, speaking of like Ghost Legends, I know we can get like Hoopa, but I never played a game with Hoopa, and I feel like Hoopa's like pretty hard to get, honestly.
I
And
don't
then
even
like
know
other
what
ones,
game it's from.
yeah,
I
I
know it
think
had a
it's
movie.
yeah, and, like Marshadow, like Marshadow is pretty cool too, but you just don't really see it in the games. I feel like
Yeah.
Giratina you can see him in games and like Lunala, but we haven't really seen them in the draft league much.
Yeah, I think we saw Giratina once, but it's not super great in VGC. Neither is Lunala, but
Yeah.
you know, we saw Spectrier and Calyrex. There's our ghost type representation.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you ever beat Pokemon Legends Arceus, you'll get to one last struggle with Giratina.
So I've heard.
Yeah, you'll never guess who it is. Um, but anyway, one last question to wrap us up. Do you think our next draft will be shorter or longer than last season's?
So the draft technically is timed, so the draft itself will be just as long, but I think it's going to feel longer just because we have so many new additions, uh, and just like everybody getting on their feet, and everyone has like remotely the same level of experience. So just getting to see these really interesting drafts, people are going to be really thinking about them.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see a lot of stolen draft picks early of just some big name Pokemon that people aren't sure if they're going to be great yet, but they're fan favorites. They'll go and we'll have some more thinking.
Yeah, it's
But
always an interesting time when someone throws a wrench into your draft board,
um,
having to
definitely.
just pick it back up on the fly.
We saw some interesting early picks last season too, so
We did. We did.
we'll see.
Seeing that very early Masquerain pick.
Yes. Do you think we'll be seeing any returns from Nashville next season?
You know, I like to change up my drafts as much as I can. It's like it's a little humble brag moment, but if you go and see all the Pokemon that have been drafted, I do have the most unique picks. So I'll occasionally pick up some repeats. I do love running the Hydreigon, the Nashville not so secret weapon.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering because if the secret weapon's up in the air, it may just have to make a team change to old Memphis. And I'm interested to see what the Iron Jugulus can do in the news.
Ooh, a little
Um,
Robo Hydreigon.
um, I guess one last question: do you have a favorite paradox?
Favorite paradox? I've honestly got to say it's Iron Hands.
Okay.
I loved the idea of it before this game came out. Just seeing little robot Hariyama with the giant hands. It's
um,
it's a very silly Pokemon, but I love it so much.
and he's very useful in raids. The old belly drum never fails.
Yeah, love that guy.
But I'm interested to see the paradoxes in action this upcoming season.
Yeah, it'll. We didn't have him in our last season, so we'll see what people do with him and who's gonna steal the Torkoal and the Pincurchin just to get your free Quark Drive.
There we go. But any last remarks?
Uh, I mean, I'm just excited to have this next season coming up so soon, and just I'm ready to get back into playing Pokemon.
Definitely. So am I. I'm excited for this off-season cup coming here shortly. Um, but we'll see. A lot of big changes coming to the game, so should be an interesting season for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyways, thank you to all of our viewers. Um, we'll have some more interviews coming up for you, and of course, the off-season cup and the regular season coming here shortly.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.